anybody here from the security firm Blackwater? If you are, please stand up and get a round of applause for the great work you've been doing. Apparently Monsanto, over the last few years, has hired Blackwater to infiltrate anti-GMO activist groups. To add that to the list of the fun things that Monsanto has been doing to us over the years.
Oh, yay.
Thank you very much.
Let's hear it. It's not like we don't already know.
The impact of Monsanto requires you to look at three specific aspects of the company as a clear and ongoing pattern that has informed and continues to inform how they do business. And we've already heard a couple people talk about that a little bit.
Louder! Louder!
Louder! Talking about that as well.
Oh, yeah.
A clear and ongoing pattern that has informed and continues to inform how they do business. I want to talk about Monsanto's history, its strategy, and its legacy. First of all, Monsanto's history. As we heard just a minute ago, Monsanto has been in the chemical business for over 100 years. In the 1930s, they were responsible for producing polychlorinated biphenyls, PCBs, one of the most damaging chemicals ever invented.
Yeah!
PCBs, which were banned for new use in 1976, are carcinogenic and harmful to multiple human organs and systems. They were commonly used in certain kinds of insulation, such as their electric power line transformers, and as industrial refrigerants. And although they're no longer being produced, they still exist in many of their installations that are still being dumped into waterways where they accumulate in plants and food crops, as well as fish and other aquatic organisms which then enter the human food supply. Dioxin, the defoliant used in Vietnam known as Agent Orange, is one of the most dangerous chemicals known. A highly toxic carcinogen linked to 50 illnesses and 20 birth defects. Between 1962 and 1971, as you just heard, 19 million gallons of Agent Orange were sprayed in Vietnam. A class action lawsuit filed by Vietnam veterans exposed to Agent Orange was settled for $180 million. A Monsanto plant that made dioxin in Pines Beach, Missouri, poisoned the area so greatly that the entire town had to be relocated.
I didn't get you.
Consistent with their methods of operation, Monsanto continues to deny responsibility for the harm these chemicals have caused, and that's 30, 40, 50 years ago. Monsanto's strategy is to avoid responsibility. As we've seen from the above examples, Monsanto's strategy is to deny that its products have negative consequences, and to deny responsibility for those consequences when they manifest themselves. The capsule summaries that most of Monsanto's products are not safe, no matter how much they want to claim that they are, and many others have not had anything like adequate safety studies performed. And thanks to the policy of substantial equality, quote unquote, that allows producers to introduce new products provided that they certify they are substantially equivalent to products currently on the market. Most of the studies on transgenic and genetically modified organisms will never be performed, so we may never know the full impact of Monsanto's technology on our lives. It's part of Monsanto's strategy to avoid oversight. Monsanto has inserted itself, kind of like the way it's inserted genes into corn and soybeans and cotton, into almost every aspect of our government. As a result, there's little oversight of Monsanto and its practices, whether from the scientific standpoint, where long-term control studies to determine the real impacts of GMO products on humans or on agricultural systems are either suppressed or ignored, if in fact they ever begin, where products gain approval without adequate testing. There's little oversight of Monsanto from the legal system, thanks to the ability to patent genetic material, the building blocks of life, thereby making life itself into a pure commodity. Monsanto's monopolistic behavior, the power to drive out competition because of market share, and the ability to manipulate prices and or distribution networks to limit consumer choice because of the lack of readily available, reasonably priced options. Monsanto executives now work in the executive branch of our federal government. They lobby both extensively
I don't want to think about it.
in our legislatures
Because
at
if I
both
do,
the federal
I'm just going
and
to
the
get pissed
state
off.
levels, as witnessed by the failure of repeatedly of governments to be able to pass even simple labeling legislation, let alone limitations or outright bans on genetically modified crops.
Pathetic!
Who's coming
And
with
a
me?
former
Who's coming
Monsanto
with me,
Legal
man?
Counsel sits on our Supreme Court. Thereby guaranteeing Monsanto free reign unless we act to stop them.
I can't.
Stop Monsanto!
Even the seemingly simple act of getting GMO ingredients acknowledged on product labels is thwarted by Monsanto's army of government manipulators, which is why we are here to stand up against them today. Not only does Monsanto manipulate markets, flooding the market with what they initially price as relatively cheap, and then use their market power to ratchet up prices for their seed
We should
commodities,
have brought an umbrella or something.
thereby
I should have brought my umbrella. I would only let Cassie use it.
production and dependency. They prevent seed distributors from supplying
Of
alternatives.
course, this has to.
It also turns out that the very products that they use and the very arguments they use to promote them generally turn out to be false.
Set our farmers free!
Set them free!
Yeah.
In agricultural production, it turns out that Monsanto, despite its claims of producing drought-resistant crops, which recent studies have shown are not particularly resistant, and in fact organic crops tend to actually perform better under drought conditions than Monsanto's genetically modified organisms. Estimates show that Monsanto's Roundup-ready soybeans require twice as much water to produce as conventional soybeans.
We could be drinking.
Despite the fact that we appear to have plenty of water falling on us at the moment,
It's not
the demand
fluorinated.
for water in the United States and worldwide is increasing.
Ban fluoride! Ban fluoride!
And the supply of water
Chemtrails, spots, and rain!
is
Woo!
relatively fixed. We're not going to get any new water anytime soon.
Boo!
So increasing demand for water even more than we already are is a recipe for disaster in a time of climate change. The fact that these products are promoted as a way to help overcome problems of poverty, of hunger, of food scarcity, simply point out the hypocrisy that we are presented with, that we're confronted with by Monsanto. Our problem is not that we don't have enough food in the world. We have plenty of food. Our problem is that it's not distributed properly. People who do not have access to it. The people who have access to it control it so that they can make a profit for their shareholders at the expense of the American public and the world. Monsanto, through its manipulation of our political process, through its manipulation of our market process, and through its manipulation of the growing process, is leading us further and further down a path of unsustainability and of ecological catastrophe on a scale that we have never before witnessed. I'm so glad to see so many of you out here braving the elements, to stand up, to let the public, to let our government know what we think of Monsanto.
Shut them down!
Say no! GMO!
GMO!
No more GMO! No GMO!
It's been a pleasure. We'll have some more speakers coming up.
Set our local farmers free! GMOs are not for me! That's gonna start right.
I know.
Here. You know, as a state coordinator for Progressive Democrats, I've been trying to bring people down to the State House for a whole bunch of issues, gun control, women's rights. This is the biggest crowd I've ever seen here, and it's raining.
so
there was
cold.
the FDA, or the USDA, said that you can't pretty much hold Monsanto's Roundup Ready meat for further study to make sure that they were safe. And USDA decided to let people use it anyway, even though a court held it up. This was actually the practice already, but what this law says is it forces the USDA to ignore the court. And what we want is to force the USDA to follow the court.
We gotta follow the rules, so do they.
We do. So here's what we're going to do. Each one of you is going to call your congressman. Call both senators, Sheldon Whitehouse and Jack Reed. Let them know you want them to repeal this law.
Repeal!
So this is just the tip of the iceberg. Monsanto has been at it for decades, and there's a whole host of ways that they've distorted our judicial system. And this is only one of the most recent examples. The really insidious stuff is how they go after small farmers. A lot of farmers used to save their own seed and grow their own strains. But Monsanto has waged a fairly systematic war to prevent this. They've been patenting, and I know the idea of patenting life forms is questionable, but they've been patenting all of their GMO products, and they've even been prosecuting farmers who have their seed pollinated against their will with Monsanto seed. There was a case in Canada in 2006 where there was a farmer who was growing his field, and he actually grew his own seed next to Monsanto seed, and Monsanto seed pollinated his seed, and then he planted it anyway.
Boo!
And it went all the way to the Canadian Supreme Court, and he lost. So that's what the law says. They twisted it.
The law's wrong!
And this is going on
Feel like
not
I'm
just
here
in
to catch a
Canada,
cold.
but Iowa, Texas. I don't know what's happening in Rhode Island, but just wait for it. And I have to say, it's not just Monsanto. All of agribusiness does this.
I can't feel my hands
When
anymore.
Oprah
So can I.
never eat another hamburger ever again,
there's a way I can
after she brought a farmer on talking about mad cow. And then she was sued. She was sued under this thing called a veggie libel law. And what a veggie libel law does is it prevents you from speaking out against Monsanto, against these agribusiness
Get that waterproof GMO.
And she took this went to court for a long time, and it was overwintered. She was able to beat back this law, beat back this settlement. But it's
Someone
clear,
want to like umbrella me
you
with
watch
my son?
documentaries.
Oh yeah, I have one of those.
About this issue because they're afraid of these
Thank you.
We've got to change that. Rhode Island doesn't have one. Let's keep it that way.
Oh, man, what are you on? Woo!
So, one other thing we've got to worry about is labeling. If people don't know that the products are in their food, they're never going to get riled up about
A
it.
lot of issues that need to be addressed.
And there's been a systematic war, not just to fight back against forced labeling, but to fight back against letting people label. There's this thing called rapid bovine
Coffee?
growth
I could use some hot coffee.
Impeach Obama!
and it gets into your milk. And they try to pass laws, red states, these purple states that with the red governments like Ohio and Wisconsin that say that not only can't you label, you're actually not allowed to label your milk with, or to say that it has this rapid bovine growth hormone stuff in it. Now these laws were watered down in court, so now what it says is you can label it, but you have to say that it does nothing, that it doesn't matter. So you can, and because
It does no significant harm, is what it says.
even in Rhode Island, you can get some milk, and it'll say this milk is RBGH free. It'll also have a disclaimer saying the FDA has found no evidence to link RBGH to various health problems.
All the food is
There's a lot for
poisoned.
us to fight for. I just want to thank everybody so much for coming out here. Call your senators. We're going to win this fight.
Thank you.
And now, we're actually going to try and gather up here where it's sort of dry underneath that portico. We're going to plan our next steps for continuing this battle. Thank you so much. Everyone who's interested.
Set our local farmers free. GMOs are not for me. Set our local farmers free. GMOs are not for me. Set our local farmers free. GMOs are not for me. Oh, thank you. GMOs are not for me. Set our local farmers free. GMOs are not for me. Set our local farmers free. GMOs are not for me. Set our local farmers free. GMOs are not for me. Thank you for the body heat.
Coming back here with y'all.
Anybody would be
Before I get lost.
Where's the hearing?
It's over near the airport, Jefferson Boulevard.
I'm going to be meeting with
Sorry.
Jen and
Talk about what?
Can I get a shot of your cinnamon? I already got this one, but I'll get this one again.
Don't get me.
No, I'm not trying to get you.
Not the way Obamacare is trying to do it. Come on, But I used to say about the about 4 years ago, I said I can't say it anymore. So now I teach healthy young kids. Because that's the only thing I can get them to do That's not so much the insurance.
I'm too short for this crap.
The insurers are over here. I mean, it's everybody. It's everybody.
Sorry?
get people to make phone calls.
Helpful links that include things like lists of foods that aren't GMO, all kinds of helpful things, meetings, things that again is stuff she wanted me to include. She doesn't have a big voice, so she's going to ask me to do that.
Grow food, not lawns! Yeah!
So that basically the last year probably seen we're gonna all get together again.
Your sign's gone.
That's why I eliminated mine.
Danny. Their sign.
Exactly. We gotta fight. We gotta fight to keep it out of here. Yep. We can do it. Amen, sister. Amen. It's on. It's a force.
Here you go. Take this for the family.
Thank you.
2 to 4 years to see
I'm just gonna look for it.
how long or how much.
Where are my people going?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's probably zoomed in, man. Yeah, it's zoomed in.
I'm not trying to get swallowed up by the crowd, so I'm following you.
Yeah, buddy.
So this is what this girl just gave me. It's all about fluoride.
She's recording everything?
Yep. Hi. How you doing?
Monsanto equals murder!
Woo!
What are you gonna do?
Oh, you guys, here you go.
How'd you get all those?
Somebody gave them to me.
Say no to fluoride! Woo!
Here you go.
Oh, thank you.
I'll take one of them.
No Franken food.
It's all about fluoride. Poison in the water. It's my last one.
Stop poisoning our water! Ban the fluoride! Yeah!
No, they were giving them
Come back
to
on the 30th! Where they at?
me. They sucked mine up.
Give me a bottle.
Okay,
Stick it right in my pocket.
What's your contact info?
Awesome.
Your email and your phone number down there.
Oh, we got it too, right? All right. Yeah, organic at its best.
Can I get a shot of one of these since I didn't poison in the water? 31st, City Hall. Be there.
O-O-M-E.
What'd you get there? The New Hampshire Free State Project.
Seed bombs.
Awesome.
Plant is right in freaking Monsanto's front step. Odom ever.
I know, some people do catch that, but that's fine.
Yeah, man. I'll see you next Friday.
Yeah.
She's got a whole big room.
Nice to meet you.
All right, guys.
Scott, you coming to White Lake?
Yeah. Are you guys coming? Oh, wait, where's Danny? Danny disappeared.
Right
You got some too? Yeah.
Glenn.
Like, yeah. Hold the seat. I got balls.
Real late, buddy.
Me too. Are you really like the first time ever? Babysitter night. Ow! Me too. Yeah.
Really?
Me too. I know.
Okay, we gotta do something.
Well, he has his thing at 6, and then
Lexi, tell him to show up late.
all of us will be free.